This is Eddie Hearn, Matchon Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
IBO, WBO, IBF and Super WBA 21 fight unified heavyweight champion of the world Anthony Joshua has said that he will not sell his soul for 50 million. He cannot be bought, but he really wants this Deontay Wilder fight. And this is what Anthony Joshua had to say. I will not sell my soul for $50 million, but a fight with Wilder, I'm confident it will be this year. I'm really interested. You can't just talk about finances, even though I know that there's a financial gain. You can't just buy me out. I want to see the devil in the detail and build this fight to its full potential. It's potentially going to happen at the end of the year, and we're working tirelessly to make it happen. And Eddie Hearn had his little statement as well. Talks are ongoing. We're all hopeful. Joshua wants to fight. Wilder wants to fight. I saw people saying that I don't want the fight. But of course I want the fight. It's the biggest fight out there. And I do believe that they want the fight. That's Eddie Hearn's statement. So Anthony Joshua, he's saying even for 50 million, you can't just buy him. And the devil in the detail is of course him talking about what's happening in the contract. Because he's not just going to say, okay, give me 50 million, you do whatever, and I will do whatever until fight night. Of course, he's not going to do that, because he can make $50 million, which is about 35 million pounds, within the next 2 fights anyway. Now, of course, this is for undisputed, and if the 50 million is legit, as in they can pay him all the money, put it into an escrow, as in not just use Joshua's profile, use his name in order to try and raise the capital, and then try and give it to him in installments, all that kind of stuff. But of course there are other things like TV broadcasting deals and sponsorships and all that kind of thing, and he's not just going to go and mid-camp fly over to several states in America and do a bit of touring around doing promos. He's not going to do that. There ain't no way he's dropping his pants and touching his toes, even for 50 million. Now, of course, it's very easy for him to say that. I said he can make that kind of money in 2 fights. For me and you, 50 million, damn, I would do the hokey cokey turn around, head, shoulders, knees and toes. I'll tell you, for 50 million pounds, even though that kind of thing ain't my bag, that is for sure. But 50 million, damn, I don't care. But anyway, Anthony Joshua doesn't have that mentality. He's saying 50 million is very interesting, but he will not just do whatever. He will not bend over backwards. He will not do cartwheels across the MGM. He ain't going to do that. Of course, if it's 50 million, then of course Team Wilder have the right to have it in America, even though on a personal note, I would prefer it for the UK. That being, we've never had 2 champions coming together for undisputed on British soil. Heavyweight at least anyway. So this, for me, I would love it if Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua go back with an offer, and it turns out that Deontay Wilder was just swindling for the 50 million. Now, of course, when you offer 50 million and give someone 24 hours to accept, or the fight's off, that pretty much tells you that it's not a real offer. That's a offer of just teasing, just saying, listen, you know, we have the money. Well, you don't have the money. Clearly you don't have that kind of money, or at least not yet. That's not to say that they can't use Joshua's name in order to get it, because there's no way they could use it using Wilder's name. Oh, hell no. His last fight, he got paid 2.1 million. That pretty much tells you the whole story. And of course, he's been countersued by Povetkin. So the 4.5 million or whatever it was that he thought he was going to be getting from the council fight with Povetkin, he's now not getting. And Team Povetkin in Rabinsky is countersuing for libel and defamation, all these kind of jazz, for something like 30 or 40 million, whatever it is. Not too sure the details of that one, not too bothered, but either way, how they're going to cough up all that kind of money, plus pay Joshua 50 million, plus put on the event, that's just impossible, right? But for me, I don't believe that they've got the money right now. People say, well, Al Heyman, he's put on some of the biggest fights in boxing, he's got it. No, he hasn't got it. He has not got 50 million, and especially he's not going to be putting it on no Deontay Wilder. He's never invested in him before or shown faith in him before. Ain't going to happen. You know, the proof is in the pudding. They lost a purse bid to Alexander Povetkin's team, and Wilder was forced to go to Russia. So, you know, and that was only 7.1 million. So they lost the purse for this one, and Eddie Hearn offered more money for an Al Haymon fighter in Charles Martin to come to the UK to fight Joshua, when it would have been in Al Haymon's best interest to have Wilder versus Martin, wouldn't it, for unification? Keep all the belts on side, but you know, that kind of shows you he doesn't have the money. But as I said, they can use his name to build it, sure, and maybe raise that kind of money, but ultimately, would they make all that money on the promotions and the fight night and that, of course, itself, for the pay-per-views and whatever sponsorships that they can do? Can they make it? Unlikely, really unlikely. But of course, Wilder and his team are hoping that it is going to make 100 million, more than 100 million, of course, but if they can just get 70 million, then that's more than the 12.5 million that Eddie Hearn offered him. But we'll have to wait and see. Now, if Eddie Hearn goes back with a $20 million offer to Deontay Wilder, would it be stupid enough to turn that down? Personally, he was stupid to turn down 12.5, which is 6 times more money he's ever made in his life, or 5 times, whatever. So if he offered him 20 million or 15 million, he'd be stupid to turn that down. Of course, a lot of us know that Dominic Breazeale is likely to be next for Wilder. Joshua's pretty confident that he'll be fighting Deontay Wilder next, and if it is at the end of the year, and that's pretty much come from Team Wilder as well, like between September and November time. So Joshua is unlikely to make a defense of his titles between now and then. He could, of course, he could squeeze one in the summer, maybe against Povetkin, but again, that carries high risk, right? So Wilder, would he be Joshua's next fight? For me, I think Joshua will fight Wilder next, but Wilder may not fight Joshua next, because Wilder already has Dominic Breazeale on a promise, I suppose. So we'll really have to wait and see. And of course, he could fit in Dominic Breazeale in the summer and then go for undisputed at the end of the year. Of course, I would favour Wilder to beat Breazeale, no doubt about it, but I think that it's risk. As much as he probably would beat Breazeale and do it quite comfortably, I think, and in fact, I think he'd probably do it quicker than Joshua. And even though I've said it time and time again, I think Joshua smashes Wilder to bits within the first few rounds. I really do. But the styles, I think Wilder hits harder than Joshua, and once he hits Breazeale, that's going to be the start of game over. But it's still high risk. He's a heavyweight. Dominic Breazeale can punch very hard too, and he is quite durable. So for me, it's an unnecessary risk. But anyway, drop your thoughts below. Do you think that Wilder and Joshua should be next for each other, or are you quite happy with Wilder fighting Dominic Breazeale next? Do you think maybe Joshua should fight Povetkin next, and these guys meet up at the end of the year and whatever else? Do you think Joshua should just accept whatever terms it is that Wilder is offering, as long as it's a guaranteed $50 million, which is about £35 million? But of course, ultimately it's down to Joshua, Eddie Hearn. And for people who say Eddie Hearn don't want the fight, you know what their agenda is. It's his name is not Al Haymon. He's not the right skin shade, and he's not the right nationality. So that you know exactly what their agenda is. But hey, people choose to listen to him. Hey, if you want to be brainwashed, you go for it. It's entirely your choice. Everyone has a freedom of speech, right? But for me, as long as this fight happens this year, Eddie Hearn has lived up to every single promise as far as Joshua's career goes. He really has. There's nothing that he has said that has not happened. And he did say that he wants this fight before the end of the year. And that's pretty much what people are holding him to. So for me, like I said, whether it's next or whether it's not next, as long as it happens before the stroke of midnight on December the 31st, then for me, he's fulfilled his promise. And everybody who hates Eddie Hearn, oh well, never mind. But of course, Eddie Hearn is going to be making a huge announcement this week, of course, in America. So what that announcement will be, again, speculation, but for me, I'm pretty confident that'll be a network deal, whether it's HBO or ESPN, don't know, or Showtime, but unlikely Showtime, of course. But I think maybe Top Rank is involved, so maybe he bought Top Rank out, I don't know, because we do know that Matchon have a co-promotional deal with Top Rank for a July show. Is it June or July? I've forgotten now. With Cal Yafai on it, and of course Ancayas. He'll be going up against Sultan, which is number 1, number 2 in the Philippines. Both exciting fighters, and I would certainly favour Ancayas to win that one. But Cal Yafai is also on that card, and as I said, it's a co-promotional deal. So maybe this is a sign of things to come. Plus, he'll be signing multiple fighters, big name fighters. But anyway, that's going a little off topic. We'll get into that a little bit more as the announcement gets a little bit closer, I suppose, in only a few days now. So what do you think of Anthony Joshua's statement? Do you think he should drop his pants and touch his toes and accept whatever deal and whatever terms Deontay Wilder throws at him, or Team Wilder at least, just for $50 million? Or do you think that Anthony Joshua is absolutely correct? I will not sell my soul for $50 million. Their terms of the contract have to also be right with not only venue, I suppose, but broadcasting deals and any other kind of things that Anthony Joshua is legally obliged to stay loyal to. So anyway, drop your thoughts below, click that thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.